So I originally recorded this, and one, I ran out of time, and two, the sound didn't work. I don't know why. I cannot explain it. I forget this a couple of times. It hasn't been a while since I got one. So, I'm going to miss this for one reason, because I want to just quickly talk about the baseball one, and the other one, and these two were better together, because I think it's interesting. And unlike the last time I did it, I don't think it's that bad, because these two do not support the ones in the middle, because these two sort of help each other. So one, you have a baseball episode. It's really fun, definitely when you see the transition between the missions we have to the weapons. It shows the fear, and also, yes, I know, this is 4 compared to 5. There is a reason. I'll explain it the other ones. There's 4 compared to 5. There's sort of like these things of having this game, and when you get confidence, it sort of makes you more of a looming presence, which I think is really interesting. The other one is interesting, but again, in 2 days, on the 4th, I'll talk about the second part, which is when something else happens. But you have this teacher that's sort of like, oh, I'm a friendly guy, and then turn and act more cold and fearful and aggressive. Which looks like one of those animals that sort of like looks cute and it goes, which is fun and cool. Because it shows this manipulation. And the first time ever that the headmaster of the school, because they had a fight, they did this whole thing where Nagi, I might also not say his name again because I feel like I always mispronounce it. And in the last one I recorded, I'm like, some days I don't feel like I should say, that one is probably 1. Karma, I feel like I can't say because that's just karma. I think I don't know if it's pronounced the same way as English, but they don't pronounce it like that, so. The other one I always feel like I mispronounce it, so. The other thing is sort of like, he has this presence of like, you see it at the beginning of the episode where he attacks sort of like the gym teacher, and he gets this sort of presence of, what was that? And then when he attacks this new guy, he's like, the old gym teacher is, oh, should I train this? Or should I push it down? Because this is sort of like this coldness that you can sort of switch on and like putting on a front with his emotions. It should just be useful. Which, in season 1, also I realised I always said season 1. I know it's now season 2. But with season 1, they don't talk as much, but they do in season 2. There's a couple episodes, definitely with him and Koro Sensei, where they talk about the idea of him sort of like doing with his past. But I'm not going to talk too detailed about that, because that's for those episodes, not for this one. So, what's this episode? It's the introduction of a new student, the second one. And even the AI says that they should have been coming together, and the other people said they thought less of it. The one thing I would say is there's this group that wears these clothes that do the say, Koro Sensei stuff, that basically means that they can't be touched by him, which is clever. But that means you have this group with way to sort of like not be sort of harmed by him, which is very fun. But obviously, realistically, that doesn't mean anything, because he's not trying to do anything, he's just trying to just avoid everyone. Then the last thing, which I think is so interesting that happens, is during this, one of the things that happens is Koro Sensei has someone else come in the room, the transfer student, who has blue tentacles. And they look like his tentacles? Wait a second, are they connected? Are they siblings? No. He's sort of a science experiment, and they even made a joke, being like, well, you said you're not an alien, and there's also a line earlier, in one of the last episodes that I didn't say, which is, oh, back when you had fingers and toes, which sort of hints that he had fingers and toes, which is really interesting. definitely when you get into all of the things. But why am I saying this now? Why don't I say this at the beginning? That comes before the last 2 episodes I did, because that's here, and the last 2 episodes are between these two. Because he comes back in this episode. So, one thing. This character and 2 of his friends sort of have been outside of the main group. Not really going and doing some of the stuff and maybe being a little more relaxed and stuff. Why is this interesting? Well, one reason. One of the things that they have with the group is he sort of goes out and doesn't get involved. And one of his friends says, oh yeah, I actually joined in the grammar school. I actually learned so much stuff. It's really fun. And he's like, no, we said we wouldn't join that. And then his other friend actually talks to him and actually liked that they both like motorbikes. And it's like so cool. And you can say that he's gay. And you also have a bit of the background being like, yeah, when I was younger, me not caring, well, I was allowed to do that. I was the king of air. Sort of like you actually see him as sort of like being the bully. But when he went to this school, that didn't work. He didn't even say it, but the old tricks didn't work on these guys. And then when he went to 3E, it's like, you know what? All of these people are like me. All of them are not really smart. So why do I try again? And then another change. Koro Sensei came. And everyone started to, this could be possible. Which is fun. You also get the idea from, again, the transfer students. One has basically talking about the 2 sort of in the group at the current moment that they know having this overwhelming presence. Obviously, there's the character I mentioned before in the other episode, but they don't know that because they weren't there. But the 2 presences that you would say would be looming is Karma, who isn't as strong as this one he is, but does have a quick mind and is pretty strong. Is able to outthink and try and use tricks. Obviously you saw that in his first episode and it backfires. But with him, he doesn't think that hard. He goes with a more simple plan. Hence why you saw his plan, which is a more simple but more destructive plan. Even joking, I'll chip in on his medical expenses. And it's like, no. Which is so insane. But you then realize one thing. He wanted this relaxed life. Even though he would be this present, he wanted some more chill. He didn't want to harm his friend. So when he did it, he be like, this is a bit obvious. So he pulled it, and there was a pool built, and the pool goes away. Because a part of it blows up and creates a draft pulling all away. And I like the idea that you see for a moment when this quick motion happens, he clicks the button, which is sort of like a gun. Again, the whole thing of like he holds a gun like this, but the other person doesn't know it's a trigger. But he goes there and he does this thing of he looks in fear because he hears what has just happened. He's like, and I like that even he knows. They were playing me like an idiot. I did not know. Which you can tell with, at least with the English dub version. Again, I watch the English dub because I would like to watch the animation. It looks beautiful and I like to listen to the story at the same time. I know it's not really great, but you listen to it and it's actually real. He actually did not mean for this to happen. This has gone out of hand. And this alongside one of the lines in this, which I think is interesting, altogether, of them actually coming together as a school. Which is, obviously this is backwards, but I keep forgetting this line. When you saw him attack, we knew anyone else could kill him. But when we saw someone else kill him, we don't want that. We want to do it. It feels like a passion. Felt like they actually want to try. And with this actually getting one of the last people sort of like in life, no, we are going to do this as a class. There's also something later that comes up, but it is so fun that they come together and are trying to do it, which comes up to a thing later. But I'll talk about that tomorrow. That's more of a tomorrow thing. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and good.